Hi, Peggy Lee Hanson here. It's a little bit strange for me to think about where I've been, everything that I've done, everything that I've accomplished, and to feel as if there's even more that I want to do. Not necessarily for myself, but for other people who are going through life, perhaps like you. I've had many transitions and changes throughout my years, and I'm sure you have as well. One thing that I want to do is to help people help others. And in order to do that, I've found for myself where when I can share my story and tell people what I've gone through for the biggest changes, what I felt what I feel are the biggest changes, so that I can help you, so that you don't have to work so hard or be stressed out or become emotionally attached to what's happening to you, or you can move forward so that when it comes time, you can do the same for someone else. It's all about helping the next person along. One of the groups that I belong to talks about, especially women, that you extend the hand so that you can help someone up. You don't extend the hand for any other reason than that. Um, One of the biggest changes that I had gone through and that made perhaps the most impact of my professional life has been 9/11, back on September 11th of 2001, when the Twin Towers were demolished. A lot of changes and transitions happened over that 5 day period after that. I worked for Northwest Airlines at the time, and let me tell you, if you were around in that time, or if you remember reading about it, if you're young enough where you didn't really experience it as an adult, you know how devastating it was. A lot of people think the economic downturn happened at that particular point or in the time thereafter, but actually, the time was at the beginning of 2001. I remember at the airline, we began layoffs in March. So, a few years later, after 2001, things really started happening with the economy throughout the nation of the United States. By 2005, 2006, I realized that nobody is really safe, especially if you're working in a corporate position where someone else has the say so. And what I did is, I remember pulling out my yellow notepad, sitting at my desk, and writing down a list of things that I wanted to accomplish when I was 55 years old. When I wrote this list, I was only 49 years old. So I figured I had at least 6 years to accomplish what I wanted and how I wanted my life to change. Well, a couple of things that I wanted to accomplish was not to have to drive to commute to go to work. And in order to do that, I knew that I still had to work, but I wanted a business where I could work out of my home and doing something that I love. And not that I didn't love what I was doing at the airline, because I certainly did. I just enjoyed the opportunities that were afforded to me my 20 years at the airline. And I loved the people, I loved the work. It was so near and dear to my heart. But I had to make a choice. And by making a choice, I wrote out this list. Little did I know that that list would start jumping off the page 3 years later. At age 52, in January of that year of 2009, I was informed that with the merger of Delta Airlines with Northwest Airlines, that my position at Northwest was not going forward. But because I had written out this list a few years before and started contemplating what I wanted my future to be, what I wanted it to look like, it didn't become such a devastation to learn that I was no longer going to move forward. Many of my colleagues and coworkers came up to me and said, you're handling this so well. How on earth, why are you handling it so well? And I told them basically this story, that I could see the writing on the wall and it was time to do something about it. But it wasn't exactly the way I had hoped or anticipated for my end of corporate career to be, but nonetheless it happened. So to this day, I truly believe that if you put out to the universe, to God, the angels, the saints, anybody who works to help you get what you want out of this life, who lives up in the stars in the universe, I truly believe they conspire to help you. My mission at that particular time was to help people through their transitions, and I still do that today through support, through a 5-step process that I developed, and I talk about it, I speak about it, I teach about it, I share about it, but I also feel that the end game of that is to pass that knowledge on. Hence, I started a publishing company. I started writing out my own stories, publishing my own books, my own stories. People found out about it, my friends and colleagues in the online community, and they started asking me, well, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? Sure, I can help you with that. Well, I started publishing my books on Kindle, and somebody found out about that and said, well, can you help me publish my books on Kindle? Sure, I can do that. It's easy. Pretty soon it became a business, but not up until about 6 months ago. I didn't have a name for the business. I used it all under one umbrella, under my Personal Transition Guidance LLC. But one day I was in the shower, and all at once I felt so struck down. It was like a bolt of lightning that almost put me to my knees in the shower. And the message came, Courageous Women Publications. You have to name your publishing business. And that's what it is. I have never, ever felt that power since. I knew that I had to start sharing other people's stories. They were no longer my story to share. It was others that needed to share. And I truly believe women need to share with other women. I was recently asked, why not get men involved? Why not find another title for men, for the publish under? And while it's true that I want to also help men get their stories out and truly believe that they have stories to tell that will help people, women need it more so, because we have a tendency to feel withdrawn and underappreciated, and we get a little shy about showing up and being who we are as women, as individuals, whether it's as a mother, a wife, a divorcee, someone that has suffered an immeasurable amount of pain and suffering, and we've survived it somehow, some way. And when we actually look inside ourselves and take the time to think back, to not meditate so much, but just to let everything sink in and recall our own process, your own process of what got you out of that muck and mire of your situation. That is the story I want you to share. That is the story you need to share. Just as I needed to share my story about change and transition and how I survived and transformed and transcended to where I am today. If this resonates with you at all, please give it a good thought about sharing your wisdom, your courage, your process to help someone else go through their transition, their life change, perhaps a little easier than what you did. Someone is waiting to hear your message and your story. I hope you'll join me on Courage Under Siege book project that I'm currently doing. It is stories from you and perhaps 15, 16, 20 other authors besides yourself in one book. Stories of transition, transformation, and transcendence. I hope to see you on the other side. If you have any questions, let me know. It's really consider and take the time and hurry, sign up, because I have some really good free bonuses for an early bird registration that ends soon. And I also have some surprises on the other end to help you, should you decide to be part of this book project, to also make a little money on the side with that as well. So again, consider Courage Under Siege. Your stories of transition, transformation, and transcendence. I'd love to have you on this project with me. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. You can send me an email at peggylee@courageouswomenpublications.biz if you have any questions. All for now. Thank you so much for listening. Take care and see you soon. To your success.